So someone has finally complained about bike groomers stealing content on a place that isn't Twitter. I'm pretty psyched about that. I mean, they've been on my list for a while now. You see, right there? Okay, so the lawyers say I can't use the list on the air because it's an implied threat and possibly assault. So I guess this is just gonna have to be Happy Week. Cyclocosm, everything is awesome. The UCI finalized its road schedule for 2015 this week, and there's a women's Strada Bianca. F yeah, RCS! For those of you who aren't familiar, Strada Bianca is a gloriously scenic semi-classic and arguably the manliest race in RCS's portfolio. That makes the addition of a women's race pretty much the same sort of statement I was going for when I said there should be a women's Roubaix back in February. Of course, there still isn't a women's Roubaix, and the women's Tour de France is still a one-day race. Positivity. Good girl. Good dog. Mwah. Also, Strada Bianca comes close enough to the end of cross season.
No.
The end of cross season. Anyway, close enough to the end of cross season that the women's event might have a race preview that's more substantive than, yeah, there's a theoretical chance that someone other than Marianne Vos might win. Speaking of the reigning world champion, she was able to avoid one of the more spectacular crashes in recent video memory, falling off the pace just before teammate Annemiek van Vleuten clipped the barrier. I could be negative and complain about footed barriers, which caused a very similar crash under Zdenek Stibar just over a month ago, but instead I'm going to focus on the publicity. Video of the incident currently has over 200,000 views on YouTube. Of course, almost none of those views are going to generate any revenue for the people involved in the production of the video, since it took Universal Sports hours to put up footage, and even then they grabbed a 3-minute clip for a 10-second crash. Bunch of freaking... Wait, what? We're rolling? Ah. Well, good news surrounding Universal Sports is that in the US, you can apparently buy online-only access to their channel, along with beIN Sport and some other networks, for just $10 a month. It's offered through Dish Network, but it does seem to be completely independent of who your internet provider is. In terms of content distribution, this is kind of a big deal. I just wish Universal Sports were aware of it. Also high in the positivity scale is this week's t-shirt donor, Sunbury Cycling Club of Melbourne, Australia. Aside from putting together Fields of Joy, Australia's first purpose-built cyclocross venue, which looks pretty awesome by the way, the club also helped support Michael Blythe, who suffered a severe spinal injury while mountain biking in 2013. Sunbury Cycling Club is putting on a series of cyclocross races, including one this weekend. There's registration information and more details on the club in general in the video description. As you may have inferred, the World Championships are underway, with just the women's and men's road race remaining for the elites. It's been a decent show so far. Specialized Lululemon won the women's team time trial, which is unsurprising when you consider that their members took first and third in the individual TT. In the men's team time trial, TJ Van Garderen called contributing to his BMC squad's win the highlight of his career. Brad Wiggins finally managed to end Tony Martin's dominance in the individual version, and with faster finishers seated towards the end of the race, watching live certainly brought a lot more to the table than most of your Grand Tour stages this year. But racing isn't the only place the UCI has been doing well, as the organization just established its own independent anti-doping tribunal to try cyclists' drug cases. Without getting too wonky, the decision means the competitive cyclists accused of cheating to get results won't be judged by organizations whose sole mission is to make sure that their country's competitive cyclists get results. That's a positive development in more ways than one. Heyo! Although it does come a little late for Tinkoff Saxo's Roman Kreuziger, whose case exposed some pretty serious bugs in the UCI's biopassport process and was summarily dismissed by the Czech Federation. But at least the UCI can still appeal. Is that positive news, or... Speaking of doping in the most positive possible way, well, I mean, except for the way with the pun on positive, Alpecin caffeinated shampoo, which is apparently a thing in countries that aren't the United States, has stepped up to sponsor giant Shimano for the next 4 years. I'm just gonna have to teach myself to forget about Jan Ulrich and that whole doping for the hair thing. Hopefully Alpecin will too. If not, there's still plenty more room left on this thing, let me tell you. I'm Cosmo Catalano, and that was the week in bike. Cyclocosm, everything is awesome.